Hello guys, this is Paula back, just kind of getting organized here, back to teach you how to make a book to insert in your book, into your journal. It can be a folio, it can be whatever you want it to be. So you're going to need two 8.5 by 11 pieces, or actually three 8.5 by 11 craft paper. Okay, and you're going to score it in the center, right down the center, and put those two aside. Okay, then you're going to need a 4-inch by 8.5 inch piece of paper out of craft paper also. Okay, so we're going to score this at 1 inch. Okay. And then you're going to pull it over another 1/4 inch. Then you're scoring it at 1/4 inch. Let me make sure I've got that right where I want. So you're going to pull it over where it lines up at 2 3/4 right here. And you're going to score from the same direction. And I'll show you why we're doing that. Okay. So we're going to fold the first one over. Ignore my little boo-boo from earlier. I just am reusing this. Okay. You're going to fold in at the 1 inch. 1 inch. Okay, and then you have a 1/4 inch. So you want to score at that also. That's what's going to give some depth in your book. I am making this, this is a craft with me, making embellishments for, or making this book for my botanical book. Okay, so there you go. Do you see what I'm saying there? There you go. Okay, so then you're going to need a 2-inch by 8.5 inch, and you're going to score right down the middle at 1 inch in on both sides. Just one score mark. And that's going to be folded over. It's going to be like a hinge to hold the two big craft sheets together. And so you want to make sure you get those creased really well. Okay, and then you're going to need a 5-inch by 2-inch black or whatever color you want. This is part of your decor on the inside, okay, or your design. Okay, you're going to score it right down the middle also and set it aside. And then you're going to cut out a black square at 5 inches by 3 3/4. And this is going to be a pocket. The reason I haven't, I'm not putting a hole in it or half moon up here is because I want to make sure it's right in the center and see where we end up. Okay, so here is our two craft papers, and we're going to score those as well. These are going to need to be folded and scored really well right there because they're pretty thick. What? Oh my goodness. I don't know how that happened. Huh. I must have scored that one. I scored the one correctly, but I must have scored the other one wrong. What's up with me today? What's up with me? So, we have 11. 5 and 5 is 10. So you do a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch to make the 11. So you're going to score at 5 1/2. Whoops. Came off of there. This is not, you know, a real scoreboard, but I use it for one a lot of times. Okay, so let's get this right this time. And it's not as accurate as, you know, a real scoreboard. It wasn't made to be a scoreboard, but I make it one. I do have a scoreboard. I have a Martha Stewart and I have a Stampin' Up. I just don't want to grab them out. Let me make sure I did this one in the right place. No, I didn't. I was off by a quarter. Don't ask me what I was thinking. I knew what it was. Made a couple of them already. Okay. Now, there we go. And it's not going to matter if you see a little extra score line because we're going to cover up a lot of this. All right. So there you have two the exact same size. Now, we're going to set these aside for now, okay? Because I'm trying to get all the cutting done. So you're going to need a gold 6x9 clasp folder, okay? Or envelope, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so it's going to be too big to fit in your book. See, it's going to be off. So we're going to take off a 1/2 inch on each side. Now, mind you, keep it. Don't throw it in the trash. Keep both of them. We're going to take a 1/2 off right here. Okay. Hang on to it. Keep it straight up and set it to the side. Okay, and then we're going to take a 1/2 inch off of this side. Just flip it around. Just 1/2 inch off of this side. And we're going to take a 1/2 inch. We're actually going to take this whole strip right here at the bottom, which is 1 inch off the bottom. Now, yes, we are completely remaking this practically, but it's not hard. Okay, so you can trash this, okay? All right, now, this is what we end up with, okay? So we're going to put it together like this. We have all of our cutting done for it. And let me think for a second. All right, now I'm going to move this because we don't need it anymore. And it's driving me crazy. Okay, so you're going to need your Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to show you what we're making now. Okay, so it starts off, it looks like this on the outside. I rounded these also. And I used a big brad, okay? And I used this twine to just go around it. You need about 25 inches of twine. And you need one big brad. Okay, the thing I like about the brads is you can lift these up and move them. If you have it on there too tight, you can adjust it, in other words. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so I'm going to open it from the right. And this can be a notebook, a folio, a journal. You can make it into anything you want, okay? So we're going to flip it out and open it. This ends up being a trifold. So you end up with all of this. So I did paper pad, let me measure my bags so I can tell you what size bags you need. Let me grab them right here. You're going to need 3 bags. They can be any color, any shape, blah, 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 you know, whatever you want. The big one is 5 3/4 by, let me put it up to the very top, 8 1/4. That's the large one. The medium one is going to be 7 3/4 by, I got distracted for a minute, I'm sorry, 5 inches. So 8 1/4 long and 7 1/4 long, or 3/4. 7 3/4, 8 3/4. I just woke up from a nap. You know, I don't have my act together completely. I apologize. And then you're going to need one of these little small craft bags or whatever color you have. And it's going to be 5 inches long and 3 I'm looking here, 3.5 inches wide. Okay, or thereabouts, you know, if you don't have the exact. And this little envelope is just a little past 4 by 4. And then I made a little black card on the inside, just a little smaller than the envelope, depending on the envelope you use. I used some of the leftover paper to make a little, you know, inside pamphlet. And then I haven't glued that on or put it together or anything. So that's what you'll need. Then you'll need a paper for the pocket. We may have already talked about this. It's going to be 6 by almost 5. So 6 by 5. I just kind of cut things. You know how that is. Okay, so we've got all this other stuff over here. I'm going to put this away for right now so that we can move on at our table with ease. And it's there if we need it. Okay, so we're going to bring this over first thing. We're going to reuse these. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors. We're going to get this all nice and square. Okay, and then we're going to trim this part right up here where the little line is. You'll see where it's folded for the book. Right there, straight across. And now it's going to fit again. And you know what? I told you you could throw away this little gold thing. You don't throw it away after all. I'm going to try to use it. We'll just reuse it to put the bottom back on. Okay. I just made this yesterday morning. You'd think that I would remember. I made them. I made one and tried another one, and I didn't like it, so I trashed it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. This is going to be longer than our envelope. But we're going to go ahead and get it in here and line it up right under where the flap folds down. Okay, and we're going to trim it off once we know. Taking about 1 inch off that side strip. Okay, let's put it on first. Now, there is a trick to this. It's called being very careful. Be careful. Don't over glue because you'll have it everywhere. And I say that to the person who's over glues all the time, me. You could even just do one strip down the middle, and not down the middle, but down each one. But as you can see, I can't even get down there straight. So, make sure your envelope's all nice and square. Lift it, put it into the body, and then pinch down, and there you go. Now you're going to have a little bit of glue come out because obviously, you know, that wasn't a very big space. I'm getting my little wipey ready because I know me. Okay, so that wasn't bad. I didn't have a bunch of leakage, which I can't complain. Okay, a little bit right there. And that's not hardly anything. So just kind of wipe it off with your adhesive remover or whatever you normally do. I have a little piece of cotton. I don't know where it came from, but it just keeps coming back to me. Okay. It's not quite even, so I was... All right, now we're going to do the very same thing on the right side, on the left side. You're right, my left. Okay. All right, so get your Fabri-Tac out again. We're going to go straight down. Straight down. I don't know how far down we need to go, but I'm just going to do it. We'll figure it out along the way. Now, this one's going to go right here. Going to line it up in the same position that you line the other one up. Right on the score line for the top up here. Just want to make sure it's even and not over that score line. There we go. Here we go. And just make sure it's pushed in. And it ends up looking pretty good. I mean, since we just took it apart and put it back together again. Kind of like Humpty Dumpty, huh? Okay, so we don't need these little pieces that we trimmed off of there. Those can go in the trash also. So we cut off, recapping here, we cut 1 inch off the right side, 1 inch off the left side of this 6x9 envelope, gold envelope. And now we've taken those strips that had it expanded to start with and put them in. So now it's a 1/2 inch on each side thinner from the height or width. Okay, but now we also cut off the 1 inch bottom, and which was this. Okay, now we're going to put this toward the back, but I'm going to see here. I thought I tore this paper off on the one. I don't want to tear. You don't want to tear your go paper, but if you do, just go ahead and add whatever color paper you want down there. I'm just trying to get that off so it's not bulky when we go to fold it. Now, you can put this completely back, which is what I think I'm going to do. You don't, you probably could put the same size that you put on the sides, but it's not going to matter because we're going to cover it up. We're going to cover it up. I didn't put any glue right here. I have it gapping open. Okay, so let's flip this over like this, because I want that on the bottom. So I'm just leaving my envelope down, and I'm just going to slide it over and push it up to the envelope, and just make sure you have it, you know. If you were going to show your envelope and not put a pocket on the front, you could cut this in and this in the front, and it just will look nicer. I cannot believe I didn't get glue everywhere. I say that, and then I find a little smidgen. It's not really going to matter on the back now that I think about it, because that's going to be glued down. Now, I do not, then you can fold this forward and crease it, and go ahead and close your envelope with the clasp, or whatever they call it. I think that's what they call it. Okay, now, this is how we ended up making it 1 inch smaller. Okay, and it was, it's a little bit shorter too. Okay, now we're going to go back to our 2 craft folders, right? And we're going to put them back to back. We're going to do it back to back. Okay, now, let me see if that's how I did it. Yeah, it is. I did it just like that. Back to back, just like that. You're going to take your craft paper that is 2 inches by 8.5 inches, and we scored it at 1 inch. This is how we're going to do it right here. We're going to glue it right here as a hinge. Okay? Now, let me get some glue on here. You'll have to line your stuff up better whenever you get ready to put this on. So just be aware. This is what's going to hold your book together. Okay. All right. Now, line up your book. It looks like, you know, it's just these 2 make sure the 2 bottoms are shoved up to each other, or the 2 folds are shoved up to each other. Then just hold it, drop this down, put it together. Voila. Voila. Okay, so now I'm going to lay it down real good and press and make sure everything's adhering. This is the inside of your book. If you wanted, that's why I said do it in craft, so it would match. If you don't want that in there, and you can figure out another way to do it that's better, go for it. Let me know if you do, and then I will learn from it. I like learning too. That's why I am so behind on all my YouTube channels. And I have a bunch that I like to watch. And I've gotten to where I'm having to narrow them down because I don't have time. Okay, so there we go. Now, we're going to work on the back right flap. So see, we've got this here. It opens like a trifold, but it's not really a trifold. It's accordion is what it is. I don't know why I was calling it trifold. Hello, trifold. Anyway, so we're going to work off this back. And let me see if it matters which side. Okay, so we're working off the back here. We're going to put the flap on here. Now, remember we scored it. And we scored it right here at 1/4 inch, 1 inch in, and then 1/4 inch. And so this is the hinge portion right here, the 1 inch part. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put glue on the 1 inch portion, not on the little 1/4 inch, okay? We're just going to attach it just like we did for the center. Now we're going to lay it down just like we did. I just stuck my finger in the glue. It was bound to happen. Okay, you're just going to kind of lift up your paper. Take it into that first score line. Do not include the 1/4 inch, only the inch. Now, I forgot to trim the top of my book. I don't know how I did that. Maybe I got it bigger than the other one. Let's measure. See, it's never simple. So this one's going to end up being shorter. I'm going to cut some off the top. It's okay. And probably nothing else will fit in the book, but that's okay. Because I already attached it. It's there, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now, that is so odd because I measured it up against it earlier. Oh, well. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes like anybody. I try not to, because it's not fun. It is not fun to make mistakes. It may have been because I thought, well, I'll make it smaller. No. I'm not going to get out my big trimmer because I got stuff piled on it, but it for sure would cut through this thickness. Now, I don't know. Oh, I just squeezed more out. Silly. Let me make sure this is still straight. I could feel it move whenever I was... Okay. Yeah. We're nice and straight. Now, cutting this is going to be what's interesting. Because... I'm going to make it happen. You watch. Can you guys see? Oh, I need to clean that glue out when we're done. Okay, so we're gonna do one. It comes out to 1/2 inch that I had it cut too big. 1/2 inch too big. The problem is that paper is wanting to keep my... It's not super easy. Gonna probably have to use your scissors on some of it. But it's easier than trying to cut it straight when you make a boo-boo. Because I've done that. And then you're like, well, I just have to start completely over. Okay. Okay, and now we'll go down here to the back part. We should be able to cut this great. I say that, and then I'm hooking up on the top here. Okay, there we go. I think that I must have cut that one smaller because I had thought about cutting it smaller. And so now I just have to nip this ever so often. And that'll be okay too. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. That's what happens when you don't have enough room to make something big like this. I used to. I just don't anymore. You know? I used to have all kinds of room in here. Okay, let's fold it up and make sure everything's straight. Because I'm not 100% positive that my edge up here is perfect. Like it should have been. Let's see. How did we get that so off? It's going to work just fine though. I just need to trim this top part that's sticking out. I must have just been slightly off. Sometimes I can do this portion without any problem. Let's make sure we're all even and flush. Yes, we are. We did it. Hallelujah. Okay. There we go. Okay, now. That was a waste of my time. I should have double-checked that measurement. Okay, now we're going to get this out because you'll be able to see this glue if we don't. And really, there shouldn't be a big gap there like I've got. I think it's because I had to change this. See, you want them to be butted up to the score line the best you can, but not where they're touching. Just leave a little space right there. Okay. It's all right. You know, all this paper stuff we make, I don't know that we ever get the scoring totally correct or get the gluing or any of that stuff. I can't remember a time that I've sat down when I make something the first time that I don't screw up somewhere. Okay, so now I'm going to round the corners on the flap. Just on those two corners only. Okay, we got that done. Now we're ready to move on to the next part, which is the bags. I hope we're not already... I didn't pay attention to how much time it took me yesterday, so we'll find out. We probably won't have time to like just decorate it. So let's start over here to the left. Now, I cut mine shorter, so this may just barely fit. Yep. So what I might do, if I can get it to be flush, and it actually is flush. Let me see. Just want to make sure you can't see it from the outside. It is exactly 8.5. But if you do make it smaller, this envelope has to be shorter. Do you see what I'm saying? If you do want to use the envelope and you make it more narrow, each page, then you do have to cut in more on the sides. But there's always a simple conclusion to it. Just do the best you can. So I will be decorating this in some kind of botanical design. I need to add some more orange to the color scheme. I'm using Tim Holtz paper for the inside of the book and Tim Holtz fabric for the outside of the book. It's going to be awesome. And then I'm using Tracy's designs. And I'll tell you what that one is whenever we get closer to. Now, I'm going to make sure I line this all the way down to the bottom, because if I don't, it's going to be too long. So I did not make a pocket behind this. You could have slid something in through the side or through the top, but I chose not to do that this time. And I don't think I did last time either, because I was thinking it'd have to be something pretty tall to go down in there. It'd have to be like a long ledger or something like that. Okay, let me get off this excess glue right here. Got it on my envelope. What it usually does in these situations is it leaks toward the sides are at the ends, or the corners. I thought I did pretty good on the amount of glue I used. But one of the reasons on this you want to make sure your glue's cleaned out of everything is because it's going to be folded together, and you don't want it, you know, sticking to each other, each side sticking to each other. Okay, I probably would not have put it as close as I did to this score line, but it's perfectly fine. I prefer it to be a little more further out. There's a 1/4 inch here and almost a 1/4 on this side, and it's really not perfectly straight. So don't ask me how it got in there okay. But it did. Okay, so right here, we're going to put the big bag. And I did not put a pocket behind the big bag either. So you could if you wanted. And you just want to center it, even if it means going over that line. Wait a minute, I was fixing to put the wrong one on there. This is the one I want. The bigger one. But now, we could fix it where you get a pocket here. Let's do that. So we'll do a pocket on the side. And I just put glue on that side. So we'll do a pocket on the other side. Paula Marie. I'm telling you guys, Paula doesn't always get her measurements right. So we're gonna make the pocket come out the other way, because silly me. And you want to even this, as I just said, on your bag. This bag is to, you know, fill up with goodies. I mean, if you went on vacation and used this, you could fill it with put your map in there. You know, you can take notes of your trip to record when you get home in your album or whatever. So this side is not open. The other side is. And because it lays flat, you can put something there. But you just barely have a little area to stick out, okay? All right, so that's that portion. And the next thing we're going to do, after I get all this glue that's seeping out, is we could either put a pocket on the front of this, or we could put another bag on the front. And really, we could take another bag, put on the front, bring it down, fold it up, and make a little pocket right there. And then you'll have this pocket too. So, I'll have to see if I have another bag that matches. I don't want to use this one because it actually is for the next part. This does not replace your journal. Okay, this is just, I saw it on Pinterest. It's not my idea either. It was by Last Art Required is what she called herself. Now here is another, this brings in white though. I don't want to bring in white. Let me see. Let's see, here's a black and khaki. But it's the same size, so that won't work. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We'll just come up with something else. You know, I had planned on us putting the small bag on the front here. But now that I think about it, it probably would look better with the pocket on here, right? Of course, it's a little big. I could cut this down. Or, I'm trying to brainstorm here, can you tell? Can pull this all the way over. I'm trying to change the whole thing as we speak. Make a tuck spot there. And then a little bag there. Or put it in the center and do the same thing. I'm not sure yet, so let's move on and put the base pieces down. Now, I want these two to fit on here. You're probably thinking, yeah, lady, that's going to happen. Well, it is. We'll just have to, what we'll do is put this portion down first, as far up as we can with just a little edge left over. That way we know how big, and I'm not making any kind of back pocket on this either. We can do this. We might have to measure how we close the bag. Okay, so I'm just barely giving any room at the top. Now let's see if that's straight. Yeah, it's straight enough. So you want to go underneath and make sure everything is sticking down. Make sure you don't glue your flap down. And there you go. Now on this one, you don't have room to put anything in the back. So you can stuff something into the left. And that's what we'll do. Let's see. You want to get these two lined up so that it fits properly in. I want to fold it over like that. Make sure we're getting it straight here. I love these little bags, don't you guys? Okay. I love the print on them. Okay, there we go. So we can glue everything except this flap. Don't glue the flap down. And we're going to leave it open on the left to add something. I don't know why yet. And you're probably thinking, why the left? Well, that's what we did on the other side. And I think it'd be easier to get out on the other side, as far as whatever's inside or underneath the bag. Okay. I'm going to kind of stand up here so I can see what I'm doing. Just make sure you line them up the best you can. It's not, you know, if your bag's not perfect, then your lineup won't be perfect. And probably it's not, but that's okay. So I think that's close enough. Let me make sure there's, I thought I felt glue on something. Right there it is. It is so pretty outside. I wonder if it's pretty where you guys are at. I'm in Oklahoma, so we had big storms last night, but we didn't have any severe ones here, but I think they did other places. Okay, now, bear with me, guys. I know I've had people not happy when I have to erase, but I have to get that glue off of there, or it's a total waste of time, right? Okay. I got to get a drink. My mouth is so dry all of a sudden. Okay. Now we've got that all ready. So the next thing we want to do is our paper. So just however many sheets you want to put on here. I just used how many sheets I had. And you want to take your 2" by 5" strip, fold it, score it in the middle and fold it over. And then it's going to go over this. But prior to that, I take my tiny attacher And as far up as I can, I staple so that the paper actually stays together. And then you run a strip of glue behind. Now I gotta make sure I got this the right length before I start gluing. That wouldn't be cool, would it? Nope, it's right. Okay, so I'm gonna put a strip of glue across the back first. I do it right around the staples. And the first thing I do is, this is the back, so I'm going to flip it over, put it down here, and I slide it up to the fold, up to the fold line. And then I make it, I could have done it like the others where you do it together, but I kind of like my paper to be straight, if possible. And that looks like it is. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing in the front. We're going to put a strip right here and right there. I'm going to put a little bit more in the front because that's where it needs to hang on, little Susie. Okay. So do you guys have Easter plans this weekend? We have not made any. Usually by now I've heard from my daughter. But they may have plans to take the kids over to Kenny's folks because they have a lot of little kids for Charlie to hunt eggs with. And I don't care as long as I get pictures of him doing it. That was the big thing we used to do with our grandkids, is we would do Easter egg, a big dinner on Sunday after church. And we would... trying to get these stragglies off of here. Come back to our house and I will have put a ham or something on. And my son would bring his kids. We all just have a really good time. So now the next thing is to glue this again onto our craft paper. Okay. I think this would be a whole lot less clumsy looking if, even I think it is, if I had more space right here where I film. And I do if I clean everything up. That's the problem. I'm going to stand up again to line this up. I feel like because we have the gold, that we need to have something gold in this, in here besides that one place. So maybe I will cut one in and make some tags out of them. That would be fun, huh? But first, before we do that, I want to see what we've got. After we make our closure, I want to see what we've got to, I just got ink, not ink, but glue all over me. Like a big old blob. Not cool. Okay, and I don't even know where it's leaking out at. Let me look under here. It's not under there. That is so strange. Oh, I see. It was the last place I looked. Right here's the culprit. It came out the side a little bit right there. So you could add some more gold that way. You could do a theme with butterflies or flowers or birds. I think in my case it's going to be flowers since I'm doing a botanical book. I know all those other little creatures can roam around too, but I'm going to use, this is going to be my design team project, not this folder, but the actual book I'm making. Okay, so we're going to do this like this, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to glue these, staple these. I'm one step ahead of myself in my brain. And then I'm thinking, how do I want to do this in here? Probably the same way, but I think I'm going to use khaki paper instead. And I know I've got plenty down here because I've been cutting it. So I'm just going to cut a little piece of khaki off and fold it over. I'm not even going to really measure it because we know it doesn't have to be much bigger, right? So I'm going to cut this portion right here a little shorter. Just going to fold it over. I did not ink any of this. If you want to ink it, you can go ahead and do that. But now this time I'm going to go ahead, because it's smaller, and go ahead and put the glue on both sides. But this is the neatest way that I know to do the paper and make it look decent, you know, and not all stapled and bulky. And so you could, if you wanted to do this black and white, it would be pretty for like a wedding. You know, if you wanted to have all your bridesmaids and, you know, maybe use it for that. And or you could even make these for, as, you know, thank you gifts. And I know a lot of people think that you have to buy everything, but I call it people being spoiled. So I'm going to glue this right in here, but I'm going to add it on the back of my paper and just kind of spread it around where it will hold on. Center it on your card and push down. Hold for a second. So Rick and I were going to get out today, but I'm having trouble with my hip again, and that means that I can't overwalk, and I'm so frustrated about it because I went to physical therapy. Been trying to keep it up at home, but it's hard. But I think I need to see a surgeon and see what is, you know, no one has run an MRI on me. And I think I'm not going to do any more therapy until I know what I'm dealing with for sure. And then I might have to go back to therapy. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay. All right. So this goes in here, but let's wait till it dries. Okay, so we've got everything on here except our pocket. We didn't decide how we wanted to do that, did we? I think we're going to put it right here like I initially planned, calm the gold down. So you want to take your little circle punch and center it as much as you can. And then we're going to glue. Let me move it where you guys can see. That would help, right? Okay, we're going to glue it where it covers the bottom of this gold. And I think I'm going to cut this a little shorter. So disregard the earlier measurements. I think that's too much. I told you on the pocket 4 inches, but I'm going to take it down to 3 inches. 3 inches tall by 5 inches wide. 3 inches tall by 5 inches wide. See, I think that looks better. I can tell this is a Hobby Lobby paper that somehow still was in my stash. I don't know about you, but Hobby Lobby's black, not Hobby Lobby, yes, Hobby Lobby. I was thinking Walmart for a second, because Walmart's paper actually is better than Hobby Lobby's little paper pads. You know, just the color ones. They do something. You can't even use them on your Cricut. I mean, they just tear to a million pieces. I don't know what they're doing wrong, but... Okay, so I just put the glue around the outer sections. I'm going to put it down here at the bottom of the gold envelope. Line it up straight as you can. Oh, and it's already showing its ugly head. Right there. Okay, I'm going to kind of not push down on it too much. Since it's laying there nice and flat, it should dry. Now, I wanted this over here, but I kind of feel like it looks a little goofy. Let me see what I have that's the next size down. And then we're going to have to call it quits so I don't get in trouble by the YouTube police. Oh, that's funny, Paula. Okay, let me see what's in here. I don't know if I have, this is all pink, it looks like. Okay, well, I guess we're going to just have to be stuck with it. And see, the color ones don't look right with it. Let me see if there's a gold. Real quick. Look how cool that is, guys. I'm looking at it through the camera right now because I'm standing up. I do have a regular yellow. I don't know if that will look good or not. It might be too bright. And see, it's not really gold, it's yellow. Let's see what else I've got. I have an orange, which might match the gold better. I think it's closer than the yellow, don't you? Yeah, I'm going with the orange. I'm sorry for those of you that think I'm crazy. I feel like it needs something there because I planned it that way and my brain thinks it needs to happen that way. Now, this is not, I'm not going to be decorating this during this video, but because we just are right at 55 minutes, I think, something like that. Okay, so let me get this glued down. I'm going to glue the whole thing down so it matches the mama, brown and white striped mama, and goes with the gold envelope at the side the best we can. There we go. Now we still have to do, man, we are timing this just right, guys. We still have to do the closure. Let me push this in. Okay, so now what I do is I get this little tiny hole punch, and I mean tiny. Okay, can you see the little dot right there? And I just kind of eyeball it as to where I think it would need to be, if I can get it turned right. Okay. I want to make sure it goes down far enough. And if it's not perfectly in the center, no biggie, because I think I'm going to put a bigger one, a bigger brad on here. So I have some of them with flowers. So I think I should use those, don't you? I was going to use that Big Owl, but he doesn't look right. He's too big. So we'll put this one on. Same size as we had on the last one. Now all I did was slide it in through the outside, lay it flat, or as flat as you can, and pull your brad clips over and do it as this one had a little bit of a bend in it, so I'm having to twist it around. They're not super flat, but what can I say? That's where it's at. Okay, now we're going to need about 24, 25 inches. I just kind of eyeball it. What in the world? That one is pretty bad. So let's just cut that off. We don't need to deal with that. Okay. So this is the simplest way I know to do it. So you're going to go underneath it with a small amount of string. You're going to tie a double knot and slide it underneath your brad. See, it's going to go right underneath. And do it one more time. There's a slight chance I might be back to decorate this, but I don't know really what I'm going to do with it yet. I kind of need to know. It won't be anytime soon, or at least until I get the book made and know what can go where. For some reason that little knot wants to show, and it didn't do that on my last one. So I wonder if, and I didn't do it 25 inches either. I'm wondering if I loosen this a little bit, if that will hide. Let me see if I can get it under there first. If I could trim it, that'd be great. That's better. Okay. So there it is. There is our closure, which still is not cooperating. I'll get it fixed right. It's just, I probably should have only done one knot or something. But, yeah. So there we go. This is our craft for today. And I hope you had fun. Welcome all the new subbies. Welcome to all my current present subbies. I appreciate all that you do, and I enjoy getting to craft with you every day, and so I look forward to it actually. So that's what happens when you get older. You look forward to crafting with no one in the room, but I know you're out there, and I appreciate you. See you guys next time. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Bye, guys.